Hello, 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 and thank you for tuning in to Riding the Wave once again. You are listening to the Urban Surfer Glenn T. For all of you people that are just joining me, these are my perceptions, my opinions are my own. My mission is only to change one mind a day in a positive way. So how's everybody doing? Hopefully you guys are being productive, you guys are being safe, and you guys are going where you need to go in an orderly fashion. Just if you want to reach out to me again, this is the Urban Surfer. You can reach out to me at rtw.podcast on my Facebook. Glenn_town is my Twitter, and ridingthewave.podcast@gmail.com. That is the way you can email me. So just kind of getting right into things. You know I like to jump right into our topics here. Today is just something that I think affects quite a few people, whether they say it or not. Just happen to be going through some conversations with my sister, and we were just looking over some actions of people and things like that and just wondering why. We're just trying to make sense of it all. So I just decided to make a topic about it just to touch the basis. But today's topic is envy and enviers. You know, we have a lot of them here. To me, that is just a disformed place of love. It's distorted. It is some sort of fanship. Some sycophants are out there. They utilize envy all the time. However, this is a topic that I think we should address just because we are all getting older and we are all making our way to our final destination, which is shore. All right, so envy and enviers. What can we do about it? What are some of the causes? What can it do if you leave it unchecked? How do you prevent it? These are all questions that we need to address today. So, getting right into it. What are some causes? What are some causes of envy? You know, envy is a beast. It can ruin all your good deeds. I mean, it can ultimately kill you. So we just want to know. We have to be forewarned on how to avoid envy. It is one of the deadly sins, as we all know. So tell me, any suggestions, questions, comments? What are some causes of envy? Let's just throw one out there. How about desire? A deep desire causes envy. A desire to have what the next person has. A desire to be better than that person. A desire for that person not to have the things they have and you to have it instead. People do some very nasty things over desires. Sometimes desires can be uncontrollable, so we know it definitely causes envy. You have that brand new car you might have saved up for, or you might have been able to buy it in cash because you did your little 1-2 and it pays off for you, and then you have a bunch of eyeballs veering at you. Where did that come from? Is it safe to say they desire to have that same item that you have? That same perceived power or that same perceived success? Desire unchecked can definitely become envy. What do you guys think? Certainly a cause in my book. So just moving right along, what else? What else are some causes of envy, right? You know, I'm sure we can find many ways, but sometimes they just kind of fall under an umbrella of one reason or another. Kind of just want to be a little broad about it, so just trying to figure out what are some of the actual causes of envy and enviers, right? So we know desire. Sometimes people just want to be in your shoes. People just want to have what you have. You know, my mother always told me as a child, told my sister now actually, never envy the next person because you never know what they had to do to get there. You might be looking at somebody that has all of these material items they've accumulated, wonderful, right? But they might accumulate those items by doing something heinous, or they might be really sick and getting some type of some compensation. Would you want to be in that person's shoes if they have like a life-threatening disease, but they have a brand new car? Or they're going behind your back or something, or they're going behind, you know, closed doors and doing things that they wouldn't openly do just to get a little extra change? Man, you can have that item plus the change, because I'm not going to do anything crazy to get what I want. I don't want anything that bad. Only thing that I really want is heaven. You know, I think any righteous person or anybody in their right mind that knows death and taxes are inevitable, they will want heaven after this, right? So, desire is definitely one on the checklist. So, moving right along, what else? What about looking inferior? Like sometimes a person could just make you look inferior. You standing next to a giant. How many times have that happened, right? You're next to Mr. Popular or Miss Popular, whatever the case is, or this person just seems to be doing so much better in life because of the choices that they made and things like that. And it gets under your skin. For the envious person, it would get under their skin. Everybody likes to be great in their own mind. So if you have somebody that steals your light without even trying, that is certainly a cause of envy. I've seen it happen 100 times over. A guy pulls up and he's amongst his friends, and one of his friends has a female with them, and that female is just attracted to that friend that just happened to pop up out of nowhere. These things. Women sense power. They sense strength and things like that, and you might outdo your friend there. You might be taller, stronger, smarter, whatever the case is, whatever attracts the female, and that alone can cause a little rift. So just having somebody in an inferior position can cause a little envy there. Just got to be mindful of that and watch out for it, because envy, again, is one of those deadly things that it can just kind of eat up all your good deeds like fire burns wood. Just a whole waste of time, right? We definitely want to stay away from that. So just keep that in mind, envy and enviers. Stop being so desirous. Being inferior is definitely another cause. What do you think? What else do you think cooks up that whole envious disposition, huh? Questions, comments, suggestions. Again, this is Glenn T. You are riding the wave, and these are my opinions and my reality. So I just want to get into it because it's certainly a topic that's oft repeated. Envy. People get jealous. People envy you all the time. Just trying to make sense of it at the end of the day. You ever met people that wish bad on others? Man, I wish that person did this, or I wish that person didn't have that. Why does that person have to have all this glory, fame, or all of these educations, or any of these things, right? When you start to wish for the lack of others, that is an open door to envy. Only because you're not getting these things, experiencing these things, etc., doesn't mean you should wish the next person doesn't experience or have these things as well. They may have more discipline than you. They may just, that may be their goal, and you may just like it. Only because you just like it doesn't make it your goal. So you might see somebody that made something you like their actual goal, succeeded, got it, and now you're a bit envious. That person doesn't need that extra car. That person doesn't need those extra houses. That person didn't need those extra diplomas. That person doesn't need that extra fame or that extra education or those extra dollars or those extra trips that they can take. They don't need these things. Why should they have them? Why shouldn't they? Everybody starts from the same start line in life. It's all about the decisions you make. What are your intentions? Check them. But just make sure you're checking yours and not everybody else's. Definitely one way of staying in your lane. Definitely by staying in your lane, it prevents you from being envious because you'll concentrate and use that energy, right? So, just getting into some of those causes, right? So just for you tuning in, again, this is Glenn T. You're listening and riding a wave. Today's topic is envy and enviers. It's just some of the causes we went over, right? If you have a desirous heart, that can cause envy. That's a root cause of envy. Just being in a position where you're looking inferior and you have one of those imperfected hearts. If you're in a position where you're inferior, you're more than likely going to become envious of the person that makes you feel that way. And also just the fact that you don't wish good for other people, you just want them to have less because you do. These are all signs of envy. You got to watch out for that. These are all red flags. Again, we're all human at the end of the day, so this is something that we can all be guilty of. But the earlier we can capture it, the better, and the less likely it'll actually happen and totally play out. Just consider it this way. If envy, right? If envy is the pain caused by the desire for what people have, right, or whatever advantages they may have attained in life, then jealousy is the pain caused by the fear of losing those advantages, right? That's why they can be a little bit different. So envy is the pain caused by the desire, and jealousy is the pain caused by the fear of loss. So sometimes you may be in a situation where you are the better of the persons that you're around, or you may have more, but somebody's on the uprise, right? They can steal your shine. They can make you look a little inferior eventually. That's where a person may get a little jealous, try to keep their position, try to, remain with their stronghold. But envy is beyond that. So this is why we want to control envy. Because we may fear of losing our advantage, we may fear of losing our position and things like that. But when you're hurting over the next person doing better than you, or the next person having more than you, then your heart is full of envy and you got to watch it. Which actually leads me to my next point. What happens if you leave an envious heart? Right? What happens if you leave an envious heart or just an envious person unchecked? What happens? What do you guys think? Suggestions, questions, comments? If you ask me what happens to an envious heart or an envious person, if you just don't check it, they don't check it, no one else checks it, it just festers. Worst case scenario can kill. Worst case scenario. It can kill. Right? Didn't that happen between Cain and Abel, right? That envious heart caused Cain to kill Abel. Envy. That's how death entered the world, through envy. It's very dangerous. One of the deadliest. So it can certainly kill. A person envy you to the point where they don't want to see your face anymore. They don't want you to have another day of success. Not one more moment do you deserve to breathe air. And there's people that actually done it. I mean, just think of some of the rappers that actually made it, right? And were killed. We have a few famous ones out there. No need to go into names, because if you listen to music in any stage of your life, you know that you've come across someone who's passed away because of someone else's hands. Certainly makes you do some very bad things, right? So what else happens if you leave envy unchecked? What else can be a side effect if you just let that envious heart fester and grow and increase in hatred? On a lighter note, it can just be a distraction, right? You're taking a portion of your day and you're thinking about somebody else's day, and that person is more than likely thinking about their own day. So, I mean, it can ultimately be a waste of time, right? Just to say the least. It distracts you. How can you sit here and concentrate on attaining your goals, or even setting them for that matter, if you're worrying about what the next person's doing with their life or their goals? I mean, it should be pretty easy to see that that can be a distraction. One person is worrying about how to educate themselves and what foods to eat, how to dress, how to behave, etc. And here goes another person worrying about why they're doing that. Why they're eating a certain way, why they're dressed in a certain way, why they're educating themselves in a certain fashion. It's not for that next person to concern themselves with. But it's certainly distracting them all the same, right? What if you took that same energy and worried about yourself? Can you see the benefit in that? I can. Taking time to really assess your weaknesses, your strengths, the things you want in life, the things you need in life, the things you can just simply use. How can you think of these things if you're worrying about the next person's life and if they're doing it correctly or to your liking? I mean, it just sounds like they're doing something that you want to do. And that could be why you're getting upset with them. Again, there's some of the causes, right? And again, certainly you've been riding the wave so far. This is the Urban Surfer Glenn T. These opinions are my own. these perceptions, these realities. This is how I see life. My mission actually is just to change one mind a day, as you know, in a positive way. I don't want any carbon copies of myself, but just to kind of open and expand your mind. If I can do that, I won. You won. We won. But if I can, I'll go back to the drawing board. Make you see it in another light. Make you understand it in a way where it sticks. But moving right along. For the envious, people who envy, just envy itself. If it's left unchecked, I mean, we know it can kill, ultimately. And on a lighter note, it can certainly distract you, right? What else can it do to be envious, right? What else can it do for you? You can lose connections, right? How many of you lost some friends out there because they just couldn't hide their jealousy anymore? They just couldn't hide their envy for you, the fact that you seemed more superior than them. And you may have not had any intentions in mind to be that way. You're just doing what you normally do. But answer me this. How many people have actually lost connections? Friends, family. I mean, people that were close for decades. And all of a sudden, poof, gone. Because they just couldn't take one more day of seeing you win. Sad, but true. Why do people find themselves so envious? What makes you want to be envious? I would like to know. That's one sin that a person won't even admit, that they're envious. It's in the heart. That's a sin of the heart. And you'll never know. Why? Because only the person that envies and God Almighty knows what's inside of that heart. They can literally be smiling in your face. Days, weeks, months, and years. And have malice in that same heart for you. We are living in the real world, people. You have to protect yourself. One way of doing so is just attaining knowledge, increasing your understanding, knowing your surroundings. Gather that information the best way you can. Whether it's through books, through life experience, etc. You have to be in the know. It's incumbent upon us. We are supposed to pursue knowledge, and these are one of the reasons, right? How would we ever know about envy, being envious, or protecting ourselves from it if we didn't do the knowledge? So just keep that in mind. Which actually brings me to my next point. And actually will be my final point. Well, we'll just address it lightly, but how to prevent it. We just talked about it just now. You got to increase your knowledge. Understand what you're up against. It is certainly something that once you fall into that pitfall can ruin your heart entirely. And that is one part of the body that if it is sound, the entire body is sound. And if it's corrupt, the entire body is corrupt. And that is the heart. Be mindful of that. Educate yourself. What are other ways to prevent envy? Well, we know it makes you ungrateful, right? You know, just doing away with God's blessings there, right? Just totally ignoring them. So how will we prevent it? Besides knowledge in ourselves, let's stop comparing ourselves to the people that we think are doing better than us. Would a bum compare himself to a millionaire? No. He may compare himself to another bum. And this is just for the lack of better words, bum. You know, somebody that's just down on their luck. But he's not going to compare himself to a millionaire. He'll compare himself to another person that's down on their luck. Stop looking up when you can look down. There's always somebody doing better, and there's always somebody doing worse. If you want to be less envious, start comparing yourselves to the people that God didn't bestow as much reward to. Somebody less fortunate than you. This way you can start to see the blessings that God's given you, right? Acknowledge yourself. Compare yourself to people under you. Pray. Ask for the strength. It is a sickness of the heart. And for every sickness there is a cure. And prayer is certainly a cure for sickness. So let us all be mindful, because envy can sneak up on us. It can fester. It can start off as a seedling. We just want to make sure that we're not the ones that's being envious or envying. And if it's happening to you, just give a kind word and pray for the person that envies you, because it's their heart that they have to live with every day. Yours seems to be just fine. Again, you've been listening to the Urban Surfer Glenn T. You have been riding the wave. I want to thank everybody that's been listening and tuning in and interacting with me. It definitely is a motivator. I want every one of you guys that listen to get to where you're going safe, be smooth, and be productive. Till the next time, thank you once again.